Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome into the room. Hello. Hi. Is that Alamel? Hello, Alamel. How are you? You okay? Good, good, good. Hi, Maureen. How are you? Good, brilliant. Okay. Where are we? How many people have we got joining us? I can't even see. It's because of my view. I need to change my view. Okay, brilliant. All right. Okay. So here we are. Welcome. Welcome. I'm not sure who's letting the people in the room, but I'm sure that they're on it, whoever it is. Okay. All right. Brilliant. Thank you for joining us. And today we are going to be kicking off with obviously all of our questions that have been pre-submitted. Yeah, okay. There's been a lot that's happened since we last had a Q&A. Obviously, we had the budget, and that's made a significant difference to quite a few things. So anyway, let's get on with the evening. So for those of you with cameras on, cameras off, it doesn't matter. Just welcome to the room. Brilliant. Thank you. For those of you that are in the room with me, Maureen and Alameo, lovely to see your faces. You make me feel as though I'm not in the room alone. So that's a good that's a good thing. If there's anyone else who dares to turn on their camera, it would be wonderful. It really would be. But there's no pressure, guys. There's no pressure whatsoever. Okay, so this is how we work. We run for an hour. Basically, we run through all of our pre-submitted questions and we tackle those first. And then at the end, if there's still any time left, we may well go on to any additional questions that might be posted in the chat box throughout the evening. Okay. So those that have been pre-submitted do get priority. Junior, thank you for joining us. Brilliant. Lovely to have you on board. And feel free to say hi, even if you don't want to reveal yourself on camera. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Saban. Hi, Dave. All right. Okay, so let's kick off with the questions. I've got the first question tonight is from Carmen Carroll. So I'm not seeing a Carmen in the room, but if you are here, speak now, forever hold your peace. No Carmen in the room. So what I'll do is I'll read Carmen's question anyway. Carmen's question to us tonight was buying property in the Caribbean. Well, okay. That isn't really a question. It's more of a statement. But I am assuming that you are asking questions about what it means to buy property in the Caribbean. Now, obviously, the Caribbean is not a country. It is, well, it's a region where there are many islands within that region. And each island is completely different and will have their own rules and regulations and laws surrounding property. So, buying property in the Caribbean, as so to speak, is going to be difficult to tackle because I'd have to sit down with you, find out where is it that you want to buy in. I may or may not know all of those rules or regulations surrounding that country. I know a lot about Jamaica. I know a bit about America. But I must admit, and I know a bit about Barbados, but I must admit my knowledge beyond that is quite limited. So, and it is an area that we are looking to expand in actually in terms of property abroad, buying and selling. There's a lot of people, especially from our community, whose parents have returned home and they are now passing away. And a lot of people want advice as to what to do with those inherited properties. A lot of them have no interest at all on returning or going to those countries to live. They don't want to manage the properties. And yet there is a wealth of properties available in those countries for that very same reason. And it's no point these properties sitting empty. That's just wealth going to waste. So, you know, it's really, how do those projects be brought to life? How can they be utilized, whether for service accommodation? You know, it's wealth that's just sitting there, and people really need to be looking at, how can I capitalize on that? Whether it's something they sell, whether it's something they, you know, renovate and rent out, or used as holiday let service accommodation. But it's best to address it rather than sit there. Worst case scenario, sell it. You know, so but it's definitely an area that is worth thinking about. So Carmen, I look forward to you joining us on another session. Thank you for submitting the question, but it'd be great to get a little bit more detail surrounding that, so then I could at least address that accordingly. All right, so next question. Are we posting them in the chat box? Yeah. Okay, so next question is from Saban. Saban, you are in the room. Are you taking yourself off mute to say hi?
Hi there. Sorry, looking for the unmute button.
Hi, Saban, and welcome to Nelston Property Consultants.
Thank you.
How are you? You okay?
Yes, very good. Thanks. I'm just trying to come off camera as well. Oh, there we go.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for
Hi,
submitting
everyone.
your question. So we've got 4 in 1, or is it 3 in 1? So you've asked quite a few, Savan. You're getting bang for your buck. That's what you're doing. You're getting bang for, and why not utilize this, which is a free Q&A clinic. That's what we're here for, to serve you. So, Saban, your question to us tonight is, what net yields on money left in, that's ROCE, that's return on capital employed, for everyone who's on the call who might be wondering what's ROCE. So what net yields on money left in are investors actually achieving on HMOs post all costs? Oh, that's a very broad question. So I can't, for me, that's very much like, how long is a piece of string? Because it can range from one thing to another, depending on where you are in the country, depending on your demand. You know, it can depend on a lot of things. So I think obviously those that will be the highest yielding, Saban, will be those perhaps that are more bought up north as opposed to London, because lower entry points to get in, but yet usually the rental yields are still pretty similar. Obviously, those that are also in high demand areas and, you know, near universities, hospitals and things like that. The typical ROC, I would say that most HMO owners are looking for will usually be anywhere between 10 and 20%. I think 15% being the average. I don't think any investors would want to go for a HMO that's, you know, not giving them, or giving them less than a 10% return. So I would say that it would usually sit between anywhere between 10 and 20% on average. Okay. The average being around 15. So if we can post Saban's second part question, please. Thank you. So that is, I've seen high ROCEs on the social media, but for my current deal, post all costs, I'm looking at achieving 5 to 6%, which is not great given all the hassle and risks involved with HMO 6-bedroom development. Costs based on 6.5% mortgage rate, commercial valuation mortgage, okay, which we know is going to be higher, 13% management fee, okay, which is typical because management fee can be anywhere between 10 and 15%. £360 tenant fine fee, £150 per room per month for utilities, £100 per month maintenance costs, insurance costs, and the list goes on. Okay, so 5 to 6% is, yeah, pretty low. So, and that's the thing with HMOs, because HMOs is quite a noisy strategy. You have to, you know, it takes a lot of work. And if you kind of don't really want to have all of that noise, then yes, you are going to have a company manage it for you, or, you know, a management company look after it for you. But then obviously that is going to eat into your profits. So it swings and roundabouts. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way. It's what's right for you. So for instance, you know, and you might take into account, okay, what else have I got in my portfolio? You know, can I swallow that 13%? Is this my only HMO? You know, am I supplementing bits with my earnings at times when there's a void period? In which case, if you are, you might not want to be paying 13%. Whereas someone else might think, well, I haven't got the time to do it. I've got a little bit more money, so I will pay the 13%. Or I haven't got time to do it, but I can't deal with the headache, so I will pay that 13%. It's all very subjective. And it's got to be what's right for you. Obviously, if you're only making 5 or 6%, what I would say to you is these are the sort of things that we look at in MPC with you. We look at the health of your portfolio. Is that really serving you? Or is this something that if you sold it and pulled your cash out, it could be better employed elsewhere? And that's the whole point of this whole business. It's looking at the health of your portfolio. How is it performing? Could it be performing elsewhere and giving you a better return on your investment, a better ROI? So this is the sort of thing that we would love to have you come for a consultation for, so that we could look. I mean, is this your only property, or, you know, do you have others in your portfolio?
No, it's the first one. And
Okay.
then obviously when you look at, as I said, on social media, people talking about, you know, there's this 10, 15, 20%, you know, got all my cash out, etc. But then when you actually get to the nitty-gritty of actually doing the deal, buying a property, you know, getting all the fees, cost, insurance, you need this, you need that, then as it starts really eating into that massive cash flow, 5 grand a month, 6 grand a month net rental. And then you really end up with, you know,
Yeah.
600, 700 quid per month
Yeah.
at the end of it after all these costs. So then I don't know if people, you know, achieving those 10, 15, 20% ROIs end up, you know, do they self-manage to get those ROIs, ROCs? Because after all these costs, then it doesn't really.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. And you've got to be careful with social media, because I think sometimes people post things, it's not always accurate. You know, they're giving you one thing, but
It's
behind,
twisted slightly.
yeah, they're withholding information as well. You know, so you've got to be careful with what's being said. To be honest, obviously, the bigger your portfolio is, the more likely you are able to overall be making a good percentage return on your cash employed. When you're starting off, it might be as small as this, but the idea is that you are looking to build. Now, obviously,
True.
you know, the whole space in terms of residential, the ground has been shifting. There's, you know, a lot of changes that have actually happened as a result of the whole Section 24, you know, the landlords, anti-landlords tax, as it's known. You know, so a lot of people have been moving out of the buy-to-let space because of that, and because of higher interest rates. A lot of people have been looking to move from, you know, one structure to another. So maybe from having it in their sole name over into having it in a corporation or incorporating, and that can be quite costly to do, but worth doing. But the ground is shifting for those reasons. People are also jumping from ordinary buy-to-lets into higher yielding strategies. So they're going from ordinary buy-to-lets, because that market is pretty dead at the moment, into HMOs. But another great area that people are investing in is supported living. And I very much am investing and working in that space now. I've got a new company that is investing in that space. And the reason why, and it's growing rapidly, we have loads of people coming to us asking for, you know, a hand holding or a hands off, whichever they prefer, portfolio building service. Now, why are they doing that? The main reason they are doing that is because the supported living space is great. There are quite a few out there. So there's three main providers, care providers that operate. They work for the Ministry of Justice, they work with immigration. And so it's very much about looking after like ex-prisoners, immigrants and things like that. And they are like the main government backed companies that provide care or assisted living care for vulnerable groups of people. But the good thing about it is that they offer these services on an FRI lease. So it's a fully repairing and insuring lease. And it's usually, I mean, it's a minimum of 2 years. Usually could be offered for 10 years, but the average is usually a 5-year lease. Now, the great thing in that space is that it's then completely hands off for you. But it can also be above the market rent, higher rents than the ordinary buy-to-let market. Those are the bigger, more robust companies that are operating in a supported living space, or the assisted living space, so to speak. Supported living meaning fully provided living care, assisted living meaning kind of more hands off, but they provide a service to those people within the home, whether it be, you know, again, immigrants or ex-prisoners that need to get back into work, and they get, you know, support. Those companies are very robust, they're very rigid, they don't negotiate with you as an owner as to what they might do with your property. Their lease is very rigid. It is what it says on the tin. This is the offer, take it or leave it. But there are other care providers in the space that are, you know, not as rigid as them, and some of them will come in and actually do the renovation works. So take, for instance, I've got a property at the moment that I was looking at as a HMO, didn't get it past planning. And so I was looking to flip it, but then I thought, no, I really wanted to hold this property. That was my main aim. And so I started to kind of look in the supported living arena. And when I did that, I found that there's a wealth of care providers who want that property. So I narrowed it down to 2 providers, one who's in the elderly care space, who wants small boutique homes, and one that wants space as a child, for children who are in the child protection space, children that are in between that 15 to 18 age group bracket. You know, they haven't found a residential home for them, they haven't found a foster carer for them, so they want them in a small boutique home and prepare them for leaving the care system. Both of those would like to pay me on average around 7 grand, 6 to 7 grand per month for that property, which the ordinary rent for it would probably be around 2,950, 3,000 the max. One of those particular companies, the one that is in the elderly care space, wants to take that bedroom and renovate it into an 8-bedroom property. It's currently operating as a 4. They would take it as a 4. They would use it as a 5 because it has 3 reception rooms downstairs. So they would use one of those rooms as an additional bedroom, and they would take on the renovation works, change it to an 8-bedroom, and then when they increase their capacity, they're then looking to offer me around 10 or 11,000 pounds per month for that one property. So it's a win-win for me, because not only are they going to be giving me a good rental yield, they are also going to be renovating my property and bearing those costs, and as a result, my property is going to increase in value. It's an FRI lease. I'll have nothing to do with it. So it's for a minimum of 5 years. I know they will renew, having done all of those renovation works. So I know that's going to go for another 5 years after that at least, could even be 15. But the great thing for me is that I will then be able to leverage against that, because I will now get a commercial evaluation. Why will I get that? Or valuation? Why will I get that? For 2 reasons. Number one, it's now on an FRI lease. And number 2, which is a commercial lease, number 2 is because they will have been trading in there for 2 years, because they are providing fully supported living care. That's a company trading in there. This residential now becomes commercial, and because it's become commercial, I can get a commercial valuation. A commercial valuation is a paper valuation. It's not based on bricks and mortar. That commercial valuation is based on a rental yield, which usually creates an uplift in value. That then means I can leverage against that property to go on and buy more. So the higher the valuation, the more I can leverage, the more I can buy. That's why that space is so good at the moment. So I've said all of that to say this: it's worth considering. If HMOs are not working for you, look at a strategy that might give you more bang for your buck, but without the noisy headache. If you would like
very interesting.
assistance in building that particular strategy, come and see us at NPC. We have relationships with care providers. We are hand-holding. I've got investors at the moment coming to me in droves, asking us to build their portfolio for them. We are doing it on joint venture basis. We're doing it on, fee basis if they want us to just go off and build their portfolio. Each situation is unique, but they are getting a service where we are utilizing our relationships in the space with the care providers and building their portfolio for them. Okay, so
very interesting. Thank you.
Hopefully that was interesting for a few others on the call as well. Okay, all right. Supported living, great space to be in, and it's still early days at the moment. So, right. Okay, so next question. Was there a third question from Saban? I think there was, wasn't there? Or did I answer it? Okay, yes. The third part was, is it sensible to self-manage if first-time landlord and rely on NRLA or for support? Or is it that risky given the changes with renters' right bills and better to outsource and pay 13% fee? Again, Saban, I'm going to say it's very subjective. It's what I said at the beginning. What's right for you might be wrong for someone else, and what's right for someone else might be wrong for you. It's all about what's your situation. Can you managing it yourself? Is it, and it's not just about your physical time, it's also about your mental headspace. Would your mental headspace be better served doing something else while someone else does that? And if you can afford to do that, then I would say do it. If you can't, and that's how you've got to start, then manage yourself. But the idea is to hopefully grow your portfolio to a size that you don't have to do that. And you can, a spread across a portfolio, you can afford to manage it. Or as in have it managed, not you physically manage it yourself. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Thanks for that. So do people do that? I mean, with NRLA support, because I've heard of NRLA, but I've not really sort of engaged or used them, etc. So is that even a sensible, doable thing to be even remotely thinking about?
I mean, I don't know if right, so it's a National Regional Landlords Association for those of you on the call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure of if they offer any kind of management service. Obviously, you can always go to NRLA for support.
Yeah.
So definitely that's there. And if you're stuck with something, then yes, they can always help you. It's very much, what support do you need? I mean, we are very much set up for these reasons as well. There's a lot of people that want support in a property space and they don't know where to turn. And so it's something that we do. Obviously, it's not a free service, whereas NRLA might offer you advice on a free basis. But yeah, for me, again, this is why that whole supported living space is great, because it negates all of that.
That makes sense. All right. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Okay, but if you want to learn any more or find out any more, Saban, feel free to reach out to us at NPC, and you can get a free consultation, and we can sit down and have a look at how your property's performing, if we could help you to get it to perform better, and if not, if we can pull your money out and employ it somewhere else where it can perform better for you. All right.
Okay, great stuff.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
No worries. No worries. Right. Thank you. Office, can I have the next question, please? So this is from Alameo. Alameo, thank you for your question. I will read that out to the masses. Right. Okay. So, hi, I'm viewing a 2-bed flat that needs quite a bit of work, and it's now on auction. It is not habitable and has not been lived in for a while. It's part of a number of blocks with beautiful grounds, and the management is near 2,000 per annum. The auction company has sent me the property details, but doesn't have other factors. I have a list of things I need to know, and how do I go about it? For example, if there is any tenant arrears, is there any missing mortgage payment? It was on the market for 210K, but is at auction for 185. It would cost around 60K plus, as it's a ground floor flat. Thank you for your advice. Okay, LML. Hi, Victoria. I've just realized who you are. Hello, good afternoon. Sorry, good evening. Okay, LML, brilliant. Do you want to give us any more, a quick background on that? Because there's a little bit missing there. So, I mean, in reading your question, it says that, all right, it's not habitable. It's part of a number of blocks with beautiful grounds, £2,000 per annum. Is that service charge? You said management. Is that the service charge? Oh, you're on mute, Annabelle.
Sorry, it's the management of the entire block of flats, and I think there are, as far as I can see, there might be. So what I haven't actually checked is if they will allow supported living. So in my mind, I kind of felt that is ground floor. If I renovated it, it could go straight to supported living. Someone elderly, someone have mobility issue, they can the grounds are maintained by a maintenance company, and that's around 2,000 a year. So I might have to have their permission. I don't know. This is something I need to check whether they would allow that for supported living. If I take on a venture like that, I think I want to see it as either quick flip or a long-term renting out. Yeah, so that's where I am. But it's not a property that's lived in for a long time.
Okay.
It has a lot of chemical smell in there. So I don't know if it has been treated for something. The furniture, kitchen units, everything is just dangling off. Electrical work is dangling off. So it hasn't been used for a long time. And the company, the people, the sellers, the company are the same people who are managing the management. So I pointed out to them I don't have much faith in their management.
Okay. And can I just ask, the surrounding properties, I mean, are they in a relatively good state of repair, or are they all kind of similar? They're right. Okay, so it's just
they're about they're like 3 or 4 blocks of 2 flights of they laid up in a nice way, and have lovely gardens. Obviously, they take trouble in looking after the gardens, security and car park space, and etc. I went to see without knowing it's actually on auction, but when I saw the condition of it, and I said, 210, who would pay that price? And then the lady who was taking me out, she quickly said, "Oh no, it's actually gone to auction now. Is now priced down to 185." I don't even think it's worth that. The amount of work that's going to be.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's it.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and it may not go for that. Who knows what it will go for in auction? And if it doesn't, if it doesn't make it, will it be withdrawn? And if it's withdrawn, and that's a really good time. If it doesn't sell at auction and goes back, that's a really good time to go back and renegotiate, because then you can negotiate an even lower price and just say, look, it's not going at auction. It's been on the market for ages. I'm prepared to pay this as a cash buyer. Will you accept? Now, it would be good to understand the backstory to this property. Why has it been empty for so long? What's the issue with? I mean, it could be a myriad of reasons. Is it that someone lived there and they've died, and there is no other beneficiary, or whatever? I mean, I don't know. Is it that it's just a landlord property, and a tenant has significantly kind of decimated it, and the landlord hasn't had the funds to do it back up, and it's just sat there? Is it a property that's fallen into arrears, and it's gone backward and forward? There could be so many different things and reasons why that property is sitting like that.
So where can I find that? Where will I get that information?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Obviously, you're going to have to speak to the auction house, whoever the auctioneers are, and obviously you need to review that legal pack. Now, if it's a case of it is what's the word? If there's say it was a repossession, for instance, it may not have in the legal pack that, what the arrears are, because I know that was your question, how can you find out what the arrears are? And if there's tenant arrears as well, or mortgage arrears, you may not necessarily have that in the legal pack because they don't have to disclose that. But if there is a repossession and there is a charge on the property, or restriction because of that, that will usually be in the legal pack. And that is something that they will usually stipulate, that, there's a charge or something on the property. The devil is always in the detail in terms of the legal pack and the auction properties. And it is of utmost importance that, can somebody mute whoever is in the background there, please? Thanks. Can we find out where that's coming from? Or is that from Alamel? Is that from your room? Not sure. Okay, but yeah, so what was I saying? So yeah, the legal pack will show if there's a mortgage charge registered against the property. And usually, obviously, that lender will have a security on that property. Obviously, once they make sure, which they will do that by having a reserve price, once they make sure that they are repaid and it's cleared, then obviously they will release that charge and it will be sold without it. You have to make sure as well about your special conditions, if there are any special conditions in the legal pack. If there have been arrears that have led to a repossession, or if the seller has actually been facing any kind of financial distress, that might actually be indicated in the legal pack. But I really strongly advise, Alamel, making sure that you have a solicitor review that for you, because there's so many things that can be in the legal pack, whether it be restricted covenants, whatever other special conditions, all of these things have to be in the legal pack. So, even the lease, I mean, that's another thing. How many years, it's property, how many years, do you know how many years left on the lease?
I think it's a long lease. They said it's 125 years or something like that, I think. Yeah, it didn't worry me when I saw the lease. I thought that was okay. They're relatively new buildings. So yeah. Okay, so so it need to be it need to be through a solicitor, really, isn't it?
Definitely, because your legal pack will usually include like all the information about the property title, about any restrictive covenants, any lease details, any local authority searches, any special conditions, all of those things are going to be in the legal pack. And as I said, it may well be that if there are arrears and it's resulted or led to a repossession, that might be, a special condition of the sale, or there might be special conditions surrounding that. So it's worth having your legal pack reviewed by a solicitor. Do not go into auction properties and buy them without having it reviewed, because an auction property is normally in an auction because there's something wrong with it. There's something not quite right, and that's why it can't be sold, or it's difficult to sell. Not that it can't be sold, but it's difficult to sell. And you need to make sure you're going in and buying that property with your eyes wide open.
Yeah. When you say repossession, does that mean repossessed by the mortgage company, the lenders?
Yeah. So basically, yeah.
So if it is repossessed by the mortgage company, why should it be in auction? I don't understand that. Why should it be in auction?
Because basically,
they want to get the money back.
They want their money. They just want a quick sale. Then they don't care about the profit of the property. Yeah. They just want whoever it is out. They want to recoup their monies, and so they give it to an auction house to sell it, and the auction house will sell it and make sure that that debt is repaid. They don't care you were the owner of that property and they've said, right, you've got to go, we're repossessing it, giving it to an auction house to sell it. They do not care whether you get any profit or not. Even if you bought that property at 100K, it's now worth 500K and your mortgage is 50K because you repaid 50, they will just want the 50K and any of their costs covered. Other than
Extra
that,
come.
your 450, they don't give a toffee about it, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Okay, great, fine. So this is
yeah,
a property that I thought. I mean, once I go through the legal things, because I had a call from them asking if I'm going to put a bid. I said, no, I haven't seen the legal details. I have a lot of these questions without finding any of this out. I'm not actually going to be bidding, because I
yeah,
don't have, the other thing is I don't have 185,000 in my hands to splash out on it. I think the renovation, which cost 60,000, I probably will be happy to do that, spend that money to renovate. And I quite like this idea of supported living because it's the perfect location and perfect area for a retired person or a single person with even a mother with a child. 2 good rooms, good sized property. It's a children friendly area as well.
okay.
So
Can I just
that's
say there actually, if you're buying an auction property,
mm,
you really need to try and view that property with a builder or a project manager,
yeah.
someone, or worst case scenario, if you haven't got someone to come and have a look at what needs to be done to give you a quote, because it's so important for you to work out your end profit and your maximum price that you can offer at auction. You need to know what your costs are going to be going into this project. If worst case scenario, you cannot get someone to come and view it with you by way of a builder or, some kind of tradesman who could help you to do that, then you need to go armed with a couple of things. Number one is you need a phone so that you can take photos and video and photograph everything, your sockets, your fuse board, the boiler, just photograph everything, the outside, the roof, take photos, take videos. The other thing that you need is a measuring device, measure the rooms. You can get these electronic measuring devices that can
I
quickly,
have one.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So then worst case scenario, if you haven't got also a torch, just in case there are any dark areas or a light, and if you can, depending on your car, you might want to take a little step ladder or something, but I would say have these tools with you so that you can take photos, take videos, take measurements, and then worst case scenario, you can send it to a builder. So this is a condition of the fuse board. They can let you know from that and the sockets whether new wiring is required, your boiler, your plumbing, just everything in the room, whether there's any damp, looking for any slip tiles on the outside, any rising damp on the inside, and on the outside, just looking for any sort of telltale signs, looking for any movement, making sure that the windows are all aligned, that there's no cracks in the building, especially none that, you could put your fist in, and because that's really a no-no.
I mean, looking at the kitchen, the whole structure is not had a had not been looked after well. So I even thought the bathroom could be converted into a through lounge, and
Okay.
the kitchen could be a nice bathroom, a modern bathroom. Otherwise, it's a good space. It's a good space, but all the wiring, everything need to be redone.
Redone.
So it hasn't been lived in for a long time.
Sure.
But it's a solid floor, and it's a flat. So they got two
That's
flats
one
top
good
to top.
thing. That's
Sorry?
one good. I was saying that's one good thing, because if it's a flat, obviously, with regards to the building, you're
Yes.
not responsible for that. Obviously,
Yeah.
if it's a freehold, it's different. But if it's a
Yeah.
leasehold, then you're not really going to be responsible, for the building. So anything like subsidence, anything like that, is
Yeah.
going to be more down to the
That's why
man.
it's appealing to me, because it's not like an independent house or attached house.
Yeah,
This is why it's appealing to me, because most of the exterior is good. It's
yeah,
just the internal part. And I just get the feeling the owner is not a local person, he's away,
Okay.
and this property must have been rented or tenanted by someone who hadn't looked after the place, and they've been, checked out, and the place is just gone, fallen,
Hold
and
it
it may
down.
well have been, repossessed,
But I mean, you can always ask the auction company about, any of your queries, and and sort of say that, you will make an offer, but subject to these queries being answered as well. It could be for you,
okay,
you know,
that's a good way. Yeah.
a condition of that sale, so you just got to be careful, because again, with the auctions, once the hammer come down and you offer, your deposit monies, you kind of, it's you're in before you can even twist.
Yeah.
It's, and a lot of them are 28 days. Modern day auction are more 56 days, but a lot of the auction houses are 28 days. So just make sure that you know what you're doing before the hammer comes down. And the last point that I want to make before I move on to the next question is also with regards to the supported living that you mentioned. If you were going to keep it and offer it out to a supported living care provider as an end user, I would say, and this is important, always find your care provider first. Don't do it the other way around. Don't look for the property, find the property, and then try and find the care provider. That's not how this space works. How this
I
space works
know.
is
Yeah.
you have the relationship with the care provider, you understand what their lease and what their agreements are that they offer, you understand what their demand is, what area is their gold mine area, and what type of property they look for, which accommodates the type of care they provide. Then you go out and get that property that meets that criteria, because they will then directly go in. Don't go out and find a property and then start to scramble around to look for a care provider.
Yeah. That's the biggest new area for me, because in the location from there to another, up to another 5 miles, which is another town, there's a lot of demand for properties for young families, and
Yeah.
the social issues. Um, a fair number of retirement people around as well. So it's a
Yeah.
very mixed area, and there's a lot of demand for it. But I don't know how the care providers work. I tried to go in since the time we had the first meeting regarding this in June, I think, or maybe it might have been July. I was looking into this, and I have not had anyone that I could really come. I can't actually penetrate into that a care
Well, I mean,
provider
I know you
section,
have come to us at MPC, you have come to us. So if it's something that we need to revisit with you, I'm happy to do that. I am very much operating in that space. And like I said, we are helping investors to build their portfolio, because we have built the relationships and continue to build the relationships with care providers. I'm in Birmingham next week, Friday, for a conference. And so I work closely with a few of them operating in that space. So if
do you
you
know
need...
anyone in the south? Do you know any care providers in the south? In the
Oh
south,
yes.
southeast?
I'm just filling a property in the south now with a care provider. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I
So
think that's it. I think when you're on your own, people don't want to know you and know who are, and some people don't even understand. They actually
yeah.
don't understand this exists.
What you
Um,
need to do, Alamel, educate yourself first before going into the strategy. So whether you go in alone or as a company or with someone else, that will not matter. What matters is that whoever you present yourself in front of, they can see you know what you're talking about. You
yeah,
are confident in what you're talking about. And then you walk into the room and your presence is known. So they sit up and take you seriously. But like I say, do have to move on, because we still got some more questions. So if you need some more hand holding, I just took on another client today. I'm either working with people where I'm building their whole portfolio because they've got large pots of cash to invest, or I'm working with people who have got a smaller cash and can only afford to get one property at the moment, but I'm helping them to source that property. I'm putting the care provider in, and they've got a ready-made business to go. So straight away from day one, they are cash flowing, you see? So because don't forget, they're getting a higher rent than the market rent. So, and they just pay a fee for that service. So it's there. So, do feel free to reconnect with us. All right, we've got to move on. We've only done 2 questions and we're already 15 minutes away from the end. Thank you, Alamel, for your question.
Thank you.
Okay, admin, can I have the next question in the box? Right, where are we? So, is the next question from Michelle. I don't think Michelle's in the room because I haven't seen Michelle, but she has asked, well, it's not really a question. Again, it's really a comment or a statement. And that is information on new legislation or legislation around right to buy. So, Michelle, you're not in the room. Hopefully you'll pick this up on the recording. Obviously, the government have just changed over and have made, you know, new announcements surrounding this. So I know that from November the 21st, the maximum cash discount for right to buy is going to be between 16,000 and 38,000. And I think that depends on where you live. So let me turn this on silent. Sorry about that. So I would say that the 38,000 would probably be the discount that you would get if you reside in London, London being probably one of the more expensive places to live in the UK. And maybe if you're in one of those cheaper areas or a cheaper city, then it might be 16,000. So yeah, so we know that that is coming in as from the 21st of November, okay? So the maximum cash discount for the right to buy is going to be reduced, and it's going to be now reduced to between 16,000 and 38,000, depending on your location. All right. If you get in before the 21st of November, then you'll still be eligible for the current discounts. I thought I just turned that off. It's the wrong phone. Sorry, guys. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. It was more of a statement, so I'm not quite sure what you were actually alluding to, but that's the information that I've given anyway around that. It's what it will be reduced to. All I would say is that just watch this space, because obviously we know that the government are looking to really reduce all of this discounted, you know, right to buy schemes and all of that. You know, it's this latest reduction has been introduced really because they want to make it more challenging for tenants to purchase their council homes. And that is with the end goal of trying to preserve the current stock of social housing. So, you know, so there's going to be, I believe that's one change. I believe there may be further key changes that will come in the future, which will further reduce the discounts available to tenants being able to buy. Okay, so that's what it's going to be as from the 21st of November. Hope that helps and hope you pick it up from the recording. Okay, brilliant. Next pre-submitted question, please, admin. And it's from Nai. Okay, Nai, you are in the room. Hello, do you want to introduce yourself? Your question is on the hotspot.
Good evening, all. Thank you for taking my question. New
No
to
problem.
property, so yeah, very grateful to be here and learn from everything that you're sharing.
No problem, no problem. So, your question to us tonight, Nai, is good evening. I love that name, actually, just saying that, by the way. Good evening. How can your investor who is over 70 years old and wants to invest... Right, sorry, let me start again. Good evening. How can your investor who is over 70 years or an investor who is over 70 years old and wants to invest unlock the money in their mortgage that is fully paid? Thanks. Okay, brilliant, Night. Excellent question. And if my partner was here, Ade, I don't know if you've been on with us before, but sorry, I didn't even mention his absence. Ade is away on holiday at the moment, so that's why you've just been lumbered with me, guys. So sorry about that. That's what you get for your sins. But anyway, this is a question that I know he would have jumped all over. So, Nai, I love this question too. And why is that? Because if you are under the right structure, that age has nothing to do with anything. So, two things. Number one, there are a lot more financial products coming on the market for people in that age bracket, because what it is people are living longer and they are recognizing that. And one of the things that was happening was those nasty equity release products that were that horrible. I know I've got a family member who had one of those, and she passed away. It's one of my aunts. She passed away. She did an equity release. She passed away, and I tell you what, I mean, they gave her when they gave her, they gave her some money, and the idea is that they give her money and it's not repaid until I think after she dies or whatever the stipulations were. But at the end of it, she got her little money and thought she was really happy and it was all wonderful for her. But her family now have hell, because the property's in probate. They want their money. It's going up aggressively in terms of how much it now costs and the interest. That's escalating by the day, and they are aggressive in wanting to get their money back. And so a lot of those equity release products that we see advertised on TV, I'm telling you, when you see it, run a mile in the opposite direction. If you've got to throw your TV out the window just so you don't have to see it, then do that, because they are no good. There are some products that are coming onto the market, and we work really closely with some really, really great financial teams, I should say, that have some really good products that are coming onto the market for those people who are in that space. And they're much cheaper, and so a lot more flexible, and they can take into account a lot of things, pensionable income, any additional benefits, if there's any other supported income that can be taken into account to support. Also, if you were to buy a property, or say this person wanted to buy a property at age 70 years old, the best thing to do would be to go under a company structure. So set up a company, limited company, be a director, go and buy that property in that company name. First things first, company doesn't have an age, okay? So remember, a company is its own legal entity. So if that 70-year-old person is buying the next property inside a company structure, their age does not matter. It is the limited company that is getting the mortgage. And yes, whilst they, don't get me wrong, the lender will have a look at who the directors are. That's fine. They will see that there's a person there that, is a director. They will also look at, okay, could this person, what's the financial position of this person? It's not based on it, but yes, they will have a look at it. The fact that that 70-year-old has got a property that is unencumbered, they will see that as favorable. You can leverage against that property. You don't even necessarily have to refinance on that property. Now, there is something called cross-collateralization, whereby if you've got one property or a number of properties, you could actually fund up to 100%, yes, I said 100% of the purchase price of your property. So, okay, if you are going to use cross-collateralization, say you've got a property now that's worth 400K, and you've got another property worth 400K, that's 800K. You're going to leverage against those two unencumbered properties. You've got 800,000 worth of equity. You're going to leverage against those two unencumbered properties. You're buying a property for 400K. You've taken 300 from one, which is 75% loan to value. Okay, 75% loan to value of 400K is 300K. You've taken 300, or you've leveraged 300 from one, and you've leveraged 300 from the other. Remember, you've got two properties worth 400K. 300 from one, 75% loan to value, 300 from the other, 75% loan to value, that's 600,000. You now go off and buy your 400,000 property, your third 400,000 pound property at 100% with the cash you've just got leveraged against those two properties. You can do that under a company structure, and you have not taken a mortgage to do that. Now you've used that money to buy this property. Are you flipping it? Are you holding it? The cross collateralization is very much a bridge type of finance. If you're going to flip a property, it's exceptional for that, because you can flip that property using those funds. And then once you've repaid back what you've borrowed in the form of, like I say, a bridge style lending type of borrowing, then that security is released from those two properties. So you haven't physically taken the money out of those two properties. You've just leveraged against those two properties. You've bought something else. You've flipped it. You've renovated this £400,000 house. It's now worth 500,000. Okay. You've now taken that money that after you've sold that property, that £500,000 home, you have paid back the borrowing. The security that was taken against those two homes are released, and you now got your third property. All of that was done without you doing a remortgage. Does that make sense, Nai?
Somewhat. Somewhat. Is it worth? As I said, I'm new, so some of it does make sense, but I guess I may need some more detail. So is it worth booking in a call with you?
Definitely. What part of it are you not quite understanding? Because I want to see if I can break it down any further for you.
So in terms of you're saying they wouldn't take out a mortgage, but they would leverage. So I guess it's how that's done. I know you said it's a bridge style, so I know that's a sort of shorter term sort of financial lending, but if you're not physically taking the money out of the original one or two properties, how is that done in layman's terms for someone that's not done it before?
Okay, so let's look at it another way. You've got a property that hasn't got any finance on it, okay? And like I said, it's worth £400,000. Because it's unencumbered, you can use that as security. So if you were to, with this person who's 70 years old or whatever, if you were to form a limited company, yeah, and you go to get some lending or some borrowing on a bridge because you want to buy a property, they would give you a bridge just based on the property you're buying anyway, all right? But they might only give you up to 75% of that purchase price for that property. All right. So forget the age, you're buying it in a company, right? They're gonna give you up to 75% on that bridge. All right. But you have to fund 25% deposit, your stamp duty, and any other costs. Okay. You can then turn around and say, all right, I'm going to use that property as security. So they then leverage against that property. All right. So they can give you a higher sum based on the fact that that property is there and they're going to put a charge on it. They're going to take it as security.
Okay. Yes, that's okay. That would be my question. Yeah, that's fine.
So now you haven't put a mortgage on it, but they've lent to you against that property, using that property as security. Now you then take that money and you go and do your purchase and whatever works needs to be done. And you don't even have to do the works from that money, because you can also get a development loan. A lot of people don't know that. You can get a development loan in addition to the bridge that you've just got to buy the property. At the end of it, you're going to hopefully create some kind of uplift in value. So you've bought this property, you've got it on a bridge, they've given you up to 75%, you've got additional monies by leveraging against that other property that's unencumbered, and you've got the full amount that you need to do this property up, and you've done it on a bridge. When you've done that property on the bridge, you either sell the property and repay back the bridge, or you refinance onto what we call a term product. So you term it
Mm.
out, a long-term product, a buy-to-let,
Yeah.
and you repay back the loan. Now, the idea is that when you do that renovation works, you uplift the value so that when you refinance onto your buy-to-let product,
Mhm.
you can refinance up to 75%. That's what buy-to-lets go up to, 75%. And
Yeah.
hopefully, if you created enough uplift in value, you can pull all of your money back out.
Brilliant. Okay.
If you can't pull all of your money back out, then we look at, but that's the whole point. We always look at how do you exit out of your bridge. So you never go into a bridge without knowing how you exit.
Yeah.
So it's a case of you're either going to sell and repay back that bridge, or we've got to make sure that you are able to get enough finance from your buy-to-let to repay back that bridge. And that's why it's important that you create an uplift in the value of the property by doing some renovation works.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's clear. Thank you.
But for that age group, it's very much, I mean, a buy-to-let doesn't look at your age anyway. A buy-to-let product, even if you were going to go straight to a buy-to-let and you weren't going to go for a bridge, say that 70-year-old wanted to just buy a property, a buy-to-let mortgage is not based on your earnings. It's
Yeah.
based on the rental income that that property is going to make.
Yeah.
It's not based on your age. So, you know, the restrictions that are there on mortgages are very much about your main residential home. It's surrounded with your age, surrounded with your earnings. It's all based on those things. A buy-to-let, which is an investment property, is not based on all of those things. Okay, it's based on the rental yield and whether the property can afford to pay that mortgage from the rental income. Okay. And then they will look at you sometimes to be a guarantor. Now, if you've got another property that has equity in it and is unencumbered, then that's good security. All right.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
So I would say get that money working. That's what I would say. You know,
Yeah.
if you worked for all of those years, the last 50 years for your money, and now it's all locked up in bricks and mortar in your home, the right thing to do, or a good thing to do, is now get that money working for you and you put your feet up. And when I say get that money working for you, release that equity or leverage against it, go out and buy something else, get passive income, and that way your money has started to work for you. Start to build that portfolio. Don't work for your money all your life, and then when you've paid off your mortgage, think, yep, wicked, now I'm going to sit back, I've paid off my mortgage and that's all I need to do. That's the point where you get your money working for you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay. Was that our last pre-submitted question? Let's just have a look. I think it was. All right. So we have come to the end. It is 5 past. Craig says he has a question about auction property. All right, I will take that question, Craig, and then that will be it. All right. I'm going to have to go because, believe it or not, I've got a full day of one-to-one coaching tomorrow and I haven't looked at any of my reports for tomorrow. So Victoria's smiling at me. She knows exactly what I mean. But so, yeah. Okay, Craig, you're on the hot spot. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
All right, no problem. This is pretty much short and sweet. So for auction properties, just a quick basic outline. Where do I start in terms of looking for auction properties? So, for example, you go to look at a property, there's so much to like look for, to understand, and because you could look at a property, yeah, I want this, but then have so many issues, and then find that it's not worth it in the end, or find that you got a property that can't make you any profit. So, what's the basic outline to look for?
Oh gosh, good question, Craig. I like this question. Okay, auction properties are not for the faint-hearted. They can be very good because obviously you can get a property pretty cheap, but you've really got to know what you're doing when you're going into auction. All right, you can't go into auction blindly. So there's 2 things that I would say. Number 1 is always try and have a look or go to view the property before bidding for it. Yeah. Number 2, if you can, always have a builder come with you, or at least be able to give you some sort of quote based on your videos, your measurements, your photographs, so that you would know how much you would be spending on your renovation costs. It is so important, because that's the area where your budget can just go AWOL. I mean, it can go through the roof. You know, you just need to have a real good knuckle down on your numbers on that. And number 3 is, what did I say number 1 was? I said number 1 was make sure you go and view. Number 2 is, yeah, have a builder. Number 3 is always have a solicitor review your legal pack for you, because the devil is in the detail, and there will be something in that legal pack, I can guarantee you. That's the main thing. Number 4 is EIG. Have you heard of EIG?
No, what's that?
EIG, as simple as it says on the tin. Have a search, look up for them, auction properties. They give you auction property listings. Okay?
Yeah.
EIG.
What is that? What does it? What does it stand for? I don't really know.
It's that's just what it's called. EIG. I'm posting it in the that's what it's called. EIG. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's
EIG.
EIG.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. News to me. Right.
Okay. So if you search EIG, let me just have a look. Let me see if I can quickly screen share. Hold on. Let me see if I can have a look. And I can bring it up for you. If you'll remember, it's funny because I was just speaking about this with my business partner, and we're saying we're just not buying at auction at the moment. So should we relinquish our should I say, our subscription to EIG?
Because with EIG, with auction properties, you say you view it, but sometimes they won't let you view it as well. I've seen it on the Hammer.
So you're right. So here it is. That's EIG. So see, I didn't even know the real name for it. I'm going to screen share. It's Essential Information Group. But I'm coming back in the room and I'm going to screen share quickly. So here it is. Can you see this, guys?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So this is EIG, Essential Information Group. So this is where, as it says, sorry, I've got so many things open. Oh dear. All right, I'm going to stop that share and start it again. Hold on, because I just minimized my screen and now I can't see it. So let's go back to it. Okay, so the only place where you will find, and there's a pop-up there, so I can't see it, virtually every property auction, okay, in the, and it's cut off there. Let me just move that, in the UK. All right, so it's all the auctions across the UK, and you can put in, it will give you a listing of what auctions are going on and when and where. All right, so then you can go and visit the auctions that come up that are close to you that you want to visit. It tells you where they are and when they're going to be happening. All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problemo. But those are the things that I would say you really need to do. It's just making sure that you've got to have a good building team in place. All right. And I have, again, for all of you that are here with us tonight, an MPC, you know, I've got, you know, builders that we work with. I've got one in the room, project managers as well. I've got one in the room with me at the moment. He's part of our team, or part of our recommended, and his name is Junior. Junior, I've put you on the spot. Are you still with us? Do you want to say something? Is he there? Is he listening? Junior. He's on camp. Well, he's in the room, but he may not be. Junior? No. Okay. All right. Well, he had an opportunity to speak to you all, but he's I don't know, not there at the moment. So, okay. That's it, guys. That's it for the evening. All right. But yeah, I hope you've had some value. Let me stop that share. I hope you've had some value from all that I've shared tonight. What is my parting word? What are my parting words? What's my encouragement for you tonight. I didn't even look at a quote, but I will share actually what I shared on last night's call. And that is, enjoy where you are on the way to where you're going. All right. No matter where you are, it doesn't matter in comparison to anyone else. Your journey is your journey. Don't put restrictions and barriers in front of you. Once you have life, you have an opportunity to do something. Okay. We are the ones that put barriers and restrictions on ourselves. So if there's something that you want to do, do it. Do it now, regardless of what anybody else says, because life is happening now. We are living in real time and life is happening now. So I would say, go to that thing. Do not be scared of it. Go to that thing. Dream big. We have dreaming as a feature for a reason. Don't be afraid to dream. Many people who have made an ultimate success of themselves, it started with a dream. I mean, you know, I'm sure when Richard Branson was first kind of, you know, I don't know, making, I don't know, Virgin Cola or whatever it is that he started off doing, Virgin Radio, Virgin Records, you know, I suppose him building a Virgin Galactic spaceship to go to space was perhaps just a pipe dream. And I'm sure if someone sat next to him when he said that, they'd probably think he's off his rocker. But it has to be a dream before it can come true. You have to think about it. You have to see, you have to visualize it. Okay. And I'm saying two things. Don't be scared to dream. And then enjoy the journey. It's not about the destination, guys. It's about the journey. I'm not where I want to be. People will think, oh gosh, you know, she's done this, she's done that. It's not about that. There's still things that I want to do, but I'm enjoying this journey because I'm meeting people. I'm meeting people like you. This is a moment. This day will never come back again. I'm sat in the room with you guys. It's a blessing. You know, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the journey. There's good and bad in it. And I take those bad experiences and I learn from them. And the good, I enjoy. The bad, I put down to experiences that I learn from. And I'm enjoying where I am because I know when you get to the destination, that is just fleeting. That feeling is just fleeting. So enjoy the journey. Okay. Junior, I thought he came into the room and took his mic off.
I did indeed.
Oh! There you are. Do you want to give us some parting words before I give the final parting words?
Well, just very quickly, just to follow on from what you've said. You said that the devil's in the detail, right? Finding out what the detail leads to good evaluations, right? And, you know, carrying out a proper feasibility, which then leads to good planning. The result of that is a project that works. And I encourage all of those steps. And you can't do too much. Yeah. And it helps us focus with the dream. We've got a dream, but it gives us the tools we need to deliver. Right. And ultimately, that's the measure. That's all I'd like to add.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Junior. So yeah, and we're happy that we've got you as part of our power team. So brilliant. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And until we see you again, or I see you again, hopefully Ade will be back in the room in a month's time. But until then, do not count the days. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you. Do not count the days. Everyone, what do we need to do? Make the days count. All right. Take care. Thank you all for joining us and see you hopefully this time next month. First Wednesday of every month, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Nye.
Thanks so much.
We're going to refinance on your home, which remortgaging is usually the cheapest type of finance. It is an asset and it has value. And talking to the right financial stream, you can now. We purchased it at 400.